guys, how are you doing? We got one of our lovely guests here, Jennifer Yaseen. She is from US. She has, 15 years of work experience in, leadership and brand positioning, creating successful brand for herself, for her clients. This is what she has been doing. A really, a really beautiful part about Jennifer is that she has, quite diverse background. She is good at strategic, tactical marketing, business development, planning strategically, campaign development, partner acquisition. She is a guru, a mentor, which I think people should really look up to. So Jennifer, you have really extensive background. You have, tons of experience in digital marketing, brand building, etc. So how did you line up with this industry? How did you start? What was the hanging fruit that you saw that you think that you had created such a big opportunity for yourself and the clients you have been working with?
Yeah, thank you for the introduction. Funny enough, I started my career in the music industry. I wanted to become an entertainment lawyer. I had dreams when I was a kid of being a singer. And so that really kind of led my passion into the music industry. And in my first role, I had the privilege of being part of an innovations team, which was essentially product development. And we were responsible for generating new revenue streams for all of the label groups. And that was a few years. And then at that point, I shifted over into the fashion industry, being part of another fast growing startup. And so again, doing business development, acquiring brands for that company. And then, throughout my career, I was working at startups and, corporations, always reporting to, CEOs or the executive team. So really being responsible for looking at the business from a holistic perspective, understanding what gaps we need to fill, how to grow the business. And really, I was always a creative person. So really looking for innovation and creative ways to build the brand, while at the same time, always being focused on, how can we, give back in the world in some way. So I was always passionate about charitable partnerships or sustainability and just using our brand for the greater good. And so after I left corporate, at the end of 2019, I hired a career coach and I figured, okay, what's next for me? And at that point, I launched my agency a few weeks before the pandemic. And so since launching my own marketing agency, which I really specialize in, like you said, brand building, business development, social media, and content strategies, I also started coaching people on how to actually build brands for the long term, because I'm really passionate about leveraging your story, everything that you've been through, and use it to make the world a better place. Because brands really have a unique point of view in the market. They have the ability to shift cultures, society. People wear brands with great pride. It means something. So, why not put that effort and energy into something that truly aligns with us? And so, yes, I've been doing that ever since.
I mean, that's really, really extensive, and it's really admiring of you, Jennifer. And Jennifer, you're working in corporate, right? You have, a good year of experience. And what made you think that, okay, you need to leave the corporate world behind and you have to shift on your own, work on yourself? I mean, that's the thought that really few people come up with. I mean, they cannot risk so much work in a corporate sector and then move towards working for their own, right? You reducing 9 to 5. What were your thoughts when you came up with this decision? I mean, many people go to panic when they think about it.
Yeah, well, I have to say it wasn't on my own accord. My last corporate job, which I thought was going to be my dream job, really just didn't work out. It wasn't a fit. And so at that point, I had the option of just kind of taking a step back, because it was the end of 2019, and really thinking about what do I want? I always knew I wanted to work for myself, because I have always had a very strong personality in terms of the way I see the world. I really always wanted to be a leader in some way. And at that point, I was always leading, these companies in some way, but I never really had the autonomy. So, at that point, it was just a great opportunity to do that. albeit scary. And at the same time, my personal life did a 180 as well. And so at that point, I really had like a blank slate to really build what I wanted to create. But it's not easy. And I know a lot of people struggle, but at the same time, you can choose your hard. You can decide if you want to be miserable working in a setting that doesn't really light you up or doesn't really excite you, or you feel kind of left unfulfilled, or you can, go the hard route and be more in alignment with yourself. And at the end of the day, the payoff is much greater.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, many people don't even work on it because it's a huge risk that is involved in creating something of your own, and rather than leaving a basket full of food and making catering on yourself, that yeah, right, that requires a lot of things. But Jennifer, you talk about creating business development, and brand building is your strongest gist, right? So what do you think is required by the business? I mean, if someone goes to buy a McDonald's burger, right? Is it the brand that is endorsed by it, or is it just a connection between the McDonald's and the user? What do you think about this one? Is it the brand building, or is it personal attachment with someone?
So just to understand your question, you're asking, is it really about building the brand and the what the brand represents, or is it the connection between the brand and the customer?
And the customer, yeah, exactly.
It's the latter. Really, at the end of the day, people don't buy your products. People don't buy what you have to sell. They don't buy your services. They buy into you. They buy why you do it. They buy the feeling that you're creating, the transformation really about, for taking McDonald's for an example, it's, quick, easy, good food. So, at the end of the day, that's what they're selling. They're not just selling burgers, because frankly, there are many burgers. So why would someone want to choose, McDonald's over Burger King? It's the same reason why there's many pasta brands that sit on the grocery store shelves. There's a reason why someone gravitates towards one brand over the other. And yes, there's, visual cues, but it really is like the emotional connection that you're creating.
True, so true, so true. Jennifer, I mean, what are the factors that you think create a successful brand? I've seen tons of many brands, but they don't have value for their customers, right? What do you think are the essential factors that every brand has supposed to have, apart from any industry they're working in?
Well, and I think, there's really looking at when you build a brand, do you want to build it to last? A lot of people say that they do, but, they don't really set it up that way. The truth is, like any house that you build, it has to have a strong foundation. So does your brand. You have to really have a strong point of view, a really strong understanding of why you do what you do, who your customer is, and how you serve them. How are you making their world better in some way? How are you filling that desire or need or want that they have, and making sure that it's very clear and you're communicating that to them in a way that they really understand. It really is about your why, your mission, your vision, understanding your customer, where you sit in the market, not because like you have to understand who your competitors are. Yes, everyone wants to understand who their competitors are. But at the end of the day, like I don't think any brand has a competitor. You are your greatest competitor. So you have to understand if you have a really strong point of view of why you exist, and ensuring that you're evoking that and not like straying from that by getting the shiny object syndrome or thinking like this brand is doing this, so I have to follow suit. That's when brands get lost. If you look at the cycle, they like scale very quickly, and then they're just trying to like stay the course and emulating what other people are doing. And like that's actually, that's where it really stifles the growth. You have to constantly innovate and stay true to who you are. Like at the end of the day, your DNA of your brand, your why you exist, that will never change. The look, feel, maybe a little bit how you communicate it will evolve, just like any good story. But that's really what makes a really good brand, is staying true to who you are.
True. Okay, so Jennifer, about the brands, who are misleading their consumers, right? I mean, they're producing something, they have no values attached to it, they're misleading them, they're manipulating. Do you think brand endorsement has that much impact on the consumer's perception when they come to buy?
I think consumers are really smart, and now with social media and the internet, you know, being leveraged as much as possible, you cannot lie. Like at the end of the day, you will be found out. So whether it's now or 5 years, it's, I mean, if you even look at Facebook, right? Like no one loves it. And yet we are using it and, you know, in a lot of capacity because it's there. But at the end of the day, when your reputation is damaged because you're lying or manipulating and you're not staying true to your core values, like people see that. I actually just watched the documentary most recently on Abercrombie and Fitch, and it's the same thing, right? When they created these sort of like racist like slogan T-shirts, and they didn't really change. So it's like you're losing your ability to really maintain trust with your customer. At the end of the day, this is all relationship building, connections, and trust. If you do not establish that and keep that and maintain that and hold that, it's really going to be ultimately your demise.
So do you think customers still buy those products even if they are being manipulated, or they're just like, okay, it doesn't matter, we are being, treated the way it is? So does the brand have an impact over there as well?
Yeah, you're at the end of the day, a business and a brand, 80% of your business comes from 20% of your customers. And so, you know, you're really severely impacting your brand loyalty. Yeah, like people may buy, but if it came down to like buying you over someone else, they'll buy someone else. And a lot of people buy things based on what aligns with who they are, their values. Consumer trends are shifting. We don't need things. We want experiences. We want to purchase things that align with our values. I mean, there's so much data that exists out there today. And so if you think that it won't impact you in some way, you're greatly mistaken.
I mean, that's where the consumer decision comes in, right? If they're not being given a proper information or being, true to the customers, this is where, part comes in. This is where the fight comes in. So Jennifer, when you come to, decide a brand strategy, right? When you're trying to think that, okay, my specific strategy for the past 5 months or 6 months was not, it was not effective. So do you tend to bring a new brand strategy, or tend to stay with the same one, yet to change it a little bit and then make it work?
Yeah, I mean, it really, at the end of the day, the market's going to decide. So how you package something shouldn't really change who you are, but how you present it so it's effective may have to change. So how you're adjusting your messaging to ensure that you're conveying the right message, how you're adjusting your visuals may have to change in order to convey your message. But what I want to really stress is that your core of why you started, of who you are, that never changes. So how you present it may have to change in terms of how you're approaching. You may be thinking you're targeting the wrong customer, and it could just be you're just not really in the right rooms of where they are. So that strategy may have to change in terms of how you go out to get them.
True. Okay, so Jennifer, you created your own agency, right? The Creed agency. I mean, what was the concept behind it? Was it, using your own personal networks, personal connections for creating an agency like that, or you just created on the basis of your own brand and then started to sell the services that you are selling right now?
Yeah, I mean, and it's still evolving. I mean, really, the idea came when I was working corporate and I developed a brand that was sustainable and charitable, and it never made it to market. And it was, it was fully developed, but it never made it to market. And so the idea was that to create something that aligns with who you really are. So you don't have to sacrifice your values, your core values, and your style. So to wear something that doesn't really align with you so you can express yourself. So that's the idea behind the agency, is that I wanted to build brands that really have a strong mission, a strong point of view, a strong vision that they want to bring to the world to make the world a better place. And so how I just started building is like, I launched it and I was like, hey, I'm open for business, and just started connecting with people. And, it's been great. I mean, I've had the ability to launch businesses that are really meaningful for people. So one person who lost her sister suddenly and wanted to help people cope with grief. And so this was a concept. It was nothing. Another, brand is a compression sock brand. You wouldn't think it's exciting, but actually it is. And, they already have a successful business and they're doing a spin-off. So really being able to build a brand that's really for their like VIP customers. So there's so many opportunities to build things that people really want to do to give back in some way.
I mean, it's really exciting. Jennifer. I mean, you created from scratch. You use the opportunity of COVID to, start your own. Many people, they were like, they had businesses shut down. They had, they had to lose their jobs because of it. But came up with an idea to, help people to give it back. That, as you say. So Jennifer, I mean, what was that one thing that created, that was the top most difficult thing while creating a successful brand that you have faced while creating your own agency? What was that tough moment that you had to go through?
I would say that really entrepreneurship is full of ups and downs, and it really does shine a light on all of your inner shadows, like I like to say. And that means all of your limiting beliefs, your imposter syndrome. Um, and this is why I really wanted to coach entrepreneurs and online business owners to help them build a strong sense of self, because in those moments, all you have is you sometimes. And so at the end of the day, you have to really stay true to who you are, because that's really where the problems lie, is when you're wavering and you're, trying to be something that you're not. So I would say there's many moments, many challenging moments, but it's all worth it in the end.
In the end, exactly. At the end of the day, everything is worth it. Okay, so Jennifer, I mean, you have been creating successful brands. I've seen your profile. My few of my team members, they're really impressed by your profile. I'll say that. We were really discussing the other day about your profile and everything. Jennifer, when you talk to your client, right, when you're discussing about, when they come to you and they say that, okay, we need a new brand, we need the business development like this and this. So what's the first question that you ask them, and what's the last question you ask them? Okay, so this is it, and this is how it's going to be. I mean, what are those two things that you always have in common when you ask them?
So the main really process that I go through is like, why? Like, why do you care about this? Like, why did you want to start? I mean, it really does all start with why. And what's your greater vision? What's your greater purpose for doing this? And like, where do you see this going? Because at the end of the day, like, I'm not really interested in building things for people to make money. Yes, money is important, but money is a byproduct for why we're doing what we're doing. It really is about what are we doing with this business and how are we serving the greater good? Because I believe like our worlds can be a win-win. I think we've been brainwashed to think that it's, there's competition and someone's going to be without. Like, it really doesn't exist. You can have it all, and that's where fulfillment lies. And in terms of the last question, I mean, that's a really good question. To be honest, there really is no end point. I think the truth is our brands are always evolving. Like any good story, you may close the book, but it changes you in some way. And it like allows you to keep asking yourself deeper questions. And so I think that that's the point, is like, how can we continue to make this product or service better for our customers, because our customers are evolving too, just like us.
True. I mean, this is why we have planned to take one of the top brand endorsers like you, and start testing that how they are trying to cater to their best customers, and how they're trying to cater their needs that they want to settle. Because Jennifer, one last question is that, what's the favorite quote that you have? It has been with you since you started off. Even before you were in the music industry. What's that favorite thing that you have? That has been stuck to you, that has been in your head since then, and you have been looking forward to it. And it has never stopped you from doing what you're doing. What's that one favorite quote? Why has it made you this?
Well, it's funny. I have a few, and I'm being on the spot. Of course, I forget them all. But the one thing that the one quote that really always sticks with me, and I have it on my website, is really that never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world, because indeed it's the only thing that ever has.
That's really small, but that's really big as well. I mean, it's stuck to the soul. So yes, Jennifer. So that's it, Jennifer. Anything else? I mean, I'm really huge fan of you. I mean, we talked your profile to one of our customers. They were like, okay, so if she's a brand builder, okay, then we really need to look into her. By the way, they're from Brooklyn. I don't know how much distance is from Brooklyn to your side.
Not far. No,
Yeah,
I appreciate that. No, I think really just what I want to leave people with is, if you are thinking about building something, if you had this calling on your heart, like no one can build it but you. And no one can see it like you. At the end of the day, there are many businesses that do the same thing, but they do them differently because they see something different. And so I just really want to encourage people to take that leap and start, because you can do it. Just like the quote says, like, a lot of people think, well, I'm just one person, or so many other people do this. Like, why am I important? You are, because you exist. Like, you have a unique point of view. And so, my dream really is for everyone to live in alignment with their higher life's calling, whatever that is for them. Because imagine if everyone really were free to be themselves and really stayed in alignment with who they were, and didn't have to worry about trying to please everyone else, how happier the world would be.
true. That's very well said, Jennifer. That's very well said. That's a beautiful thing. I mean, many people should, start thinking towards this. They should start, looking upon themselves that one person can make a difference. If every individual starts to combine, and they could create a successful brand, they could create successful things that they think they could start working on. So, Jennifer, it was really. Hey, would you like to add something else to this? Oh, we have a guest
We
here
have
as
a
well.
guest.
Would you like
Yes,
to
right.
would you like to introduce him? We have like few minutes left, so I think we
Yes,
have
this is
fun.
Macy. This is Macy. She is a rescue from Puerto Rico, and she is my sidekick working from home.
Oh, that's so lovely. I mean, we should have another session with Macy as well.
Yes. Yeah, it's
Exactly.
funny. I have several brands that are in the canine industry, so or animal industry. So
Oh, that's so cute. That's
yeah.
amazing. So, Jennifer, would you like to add anything else to our lovely conversation or anything?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to share a little bit about me and talking about the importance of branding. And I just want to point out, that just me starting my business, right? I've been able to help other people start their business, and their business is impacting other people. And so it really is a ripple effect. That's the beauty of, like, when we do something and we're literally co-creating it with other people. So if you want to get in touch or learn more, feel free to DM me at Jennifer Yaseen. I'm sure you have my links, and I'm always happy to answer any questions.
Done and dusted. We will definitely get back to you, Jennifer. It was lovely speaking to you. It was really nice
Yes.
meeting Macy as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, we are always open to you if you have any help that we could do, any suggestion, anything. I'm always open. You have our LinkedIn's, our Instagrams, everything.
Yeah,
So
awesome. Yes, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.